Hello, everyone. It's Jerry at the Fledge. Welcome to another episode of Every Damn Day. So I am sitting in the sanctuary again. I guess I got James Bignell's painting behind me there, and up in the rafters, we've got a bunch of art surrounding us all over the place. I've got brown hair, brown eyes. I'm the host of the show. I've got a No Rules t-shirt on. And today on the show, we have our good friend Farhan. How you doing, Farhan?
Good, Jerry. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. Um, I'm wearing a white dress shirt. I have a blue background behind me. I'm in my room. I just got done working, so I'm excited to be here. And thanks for having me.
I'm excited to have you here. I love that blue background. It makes me just feel at ease,
Thank
man.
you. Thank you.
So, if you don't mind, I want to start out with Ramadan Kareem. So, if nobody knows what that means, it means basically Happy Ramadan. And I know today you are fasting. So today I won't be drinking out of my coffee or my water or anything either to show solidarity with you.
Thank
So
you. Okay.
let's jump into you. Oh, I should probably preface something is that, uh, you're a mayoral candidate, but you and I have been talking somewhat in that context, but also just about a lot of other things that you and I have in common. So today, we're going to do a regular show. It's not a candidate show. It's not special for any reason like that. And you're just going to follow the same format. And I also want to invite any other mayoral candidate, Jeffrey or Jeff Hadley has been on the show already, but any other mayoral candidate who wants to join and talk about a normal show, you're more than welcome to do that too. So let's talk about you. Let's. Where were you born and raised? Where'd you go to school? How'd you get to Lansing? All these different things that you want to talk about.
All right. First, I want to thank you for having me. In society, we tend to wait until someone passes to give them credit and to highlight some of their work. I want to take this time to highlight your work. I want to thank you for all the things that you do for our community. You are truly a hero, and you're saving lots of lives, especially black children, black kids, black lives. My family and I came here in 2005 as refugees. My parents were originally from Somalia. They fled Somalia due to the civil war and came to Kenya. That's where I was born. That's where five of my other siblings were born. And we came here as refugees in 2005. I went to Riddle as elementary. I went to Otto Middle School. I went to Eastern High School. So I went to all the public schools here. I've called Lansing home for 15 years now. It's amazing. Time goes by very fast. I've enjoyed, um, when my family and I came here, we faced a lot of struggles. We had to learn the English language. We had to learn and get used to the American culture. We had to. They didn't tell us about the snow. Like that caught me off guard. We came here July 11th, so it was very hot. I remember telling my mom, I was like, "Mom, this is just like Africa, but better." And then a few months later, it started to snow. I was like, "What just happened?" But Lansing has been so kind to my community, to my family, to me, and I'm very excited to give back to Lansing and lead the city.
So a couple of things. One is, did we ever talk? I was the first class that ever went to Riddle. Riddle was a brand new school in 1976, and I was bused from the south side to the west side as part of the desegregation that it was a big lawsuit since 72 to 76, and the school district finally lost and had to start busing. And I loved Riddle.
Yeah,
I loved Riddle.
that's a beautiful story. You and I did talk about it. there you and I have a lot of things in common. We're both fellow Quakers. We both went to Riddle. We both love the city. We both play small roles uh, in the city,
That's
and
right.
I'm excited to be here with you and to work with you in the future.
That's another thing I wanted to address. I'm glad you say I play a small role because that's how I feel. I'm surrounded by heroes. I'm not a hero. The community comes through for each other. I get to facilitate it sometimes, but without everybody else in the city, this great city, I would be nothing. I'd just be a guy sitting in a big old empty building.
Yeah, I second that. We have an incredible community. I remember one of the conversations we had. You said that if you needed anything for the fledge, you'll just make one post, and the community will just come together and bring those things. And it just shows how well connected our community is, and people care about each other, people love each other, people want to support one another, and Lansing is an amazing city. It's an amazing city, and it's a city that has a lot of potential. There's a lot of potential, and that's one of the reasons why I'm running for Lansing mayor is because I want to release that, unleash that full potential that Lansing has. We have not seen that yet, but I'm excited to unleash that.
Yeah. So being a Quaker, though, I want to tell you something that you've done for me. You and I have talked a few times about Lansing Eastern, and, I graduated there in 1984. You graduated in, I actually don't know,
2014.
2014. And I was so happy to hear how positive you were about Lansing Eastern because I thought, after I left, it was all downhill from there. But to have somebody still passionate about it and loving it, I'm really proud of our Quakers.
Yeah, Eastern is a very special school. It has rich culture. It has rich history. I always felt like I was home when I went to that school. Um, I remember walking down that first floor and you see all those flags that represent every kid that went to that school. It was very special. You had kids from Somalia, Ethiopia, Uganda, Tanzania, Brazil, Lithuania, Romania, just everywhere. And that's what makes Eastern so special. Uh, we had you can literally meet someone and they'll say great things about Eastern. And I was very sad when the building was sold because that building has a lot of rich history.
Yeah. My grandmother graduated from Eastern, and she's still living today. Um, she doesn't watch my show for some reason, but she's still living.
She still loves you.
Um, the other thing is the Refugee Development Center, the RDC. Were they helpful for you? Because I know that they do a lot of work. Well, first of all, maybe we should step back a little bit. Maybe people don't know that Lansing is a hub, one of maybe 10 hubs in the country
Mhm.
for refugee resettlement. So people come here specifically, and we have a great refugee development center. And I think you have some good experiences with them. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the RDC and St. Vincent Catholic Charities have done a lot for my family, and they continue to do a lot of things for the Somali community that comes here. I remember going from Eastern, just walking down, going to RDC. They always help us with our homework. They always gave us snacks. It felt like going from one home to the other. The people there were amazing, and they were there to help us always. And I appreciate their service.
Yeah. So shout out to Erica Brown and the RDC and
Yes.
everyone over there. I always they have a pitch competition called Newcomers, New Ideas that I love that because the kids aren't talking about being billionaires. They're talking about solving the problems they see every day, and that's my kind of entrepreneur.
That's right. It's a great program. It's a great program. It does a lot. It does a lot of work for this community. Helps a lot.
Yeah. So you talked about being a mayoral candidate, and I'm going to put that to the side for just a moment.
Mhm.
Um, I love your job that you do. Will you tell us about that?
I've been with Ingham ISD for 2.5 years now. I'm also an interpreter. Um, I also do activism work. I've been volunteering. I volunteer at Volunteers of America. I've been very heavily involved with East Lansing and making sure that their police department is structurally changed. And we're doing a lot of work out there where we're reforming their police department. And I'm very excited to bring those changes and those big developments that's happening in East Lansing to here and apply that here in Lansing. So that's what I've been doing.
Yeah. So, and you're an interpreter for the school district, right?
No, I'm an assistant here. Yeah, I work
Yeah.
for Language Line Solutions for interpreting.
Okay. All right. So that's I get it now.
Yeah,
And you interpret in what languages?
Somali. I speak English and Somali.
Okay.
My mother actually works for the Lansing School District. Um, she's an assistant teacher as well, and she helps directly. She works directly with the Somali kids in the Somali community.
Yeah. So I don't think that people understand how many languages are spoke within the Lansing School District, but I do want to put up Luna Brown's post. He said he went to Spartan Village Elementary, and the kids from over 100 countries there. And I just think that we should be so proud of the diversity, because we're going to be so much smarter if we can tap in to that potential.
Yeah, I agree. When you have many people from different walks of life coming here, it only gets better. We get new ideas. You get to learn about other cultures, other religions. You get to try other foods. So it's an amazing feeling to have all those people here.
Yeah. My friend who made this shirt, he's commenting over there, but Dustin, we made a shirt called Bigger Brain, Better World, that represented the diversity of having all these different views and how your brain gets bigger and your ability to solve problems becomes so much easier because somebody's an expert at something.
Exactly.
And I love the diversity of our city. It's one of the core reasons I love the city so much.
Me too.
Let's talk about your East Lansing work a little bit. Karen's here saying I can testify to Farhan's important work in EL with the police reform. Are you proud of what East Lansing's been doing, or do they have a lot more work to do, or where are you at with that?
First, I want to give a shout out to Karen. Karen is on the HRC, and she has done a lot of incredible work, and she has helped me and other community activists push the East Lansing Police Department. So thank you, Karen. The city of East Lansing is in far better place today than it was a year ago. We've made a lot of changes, but there's always more work to do. I'm not satisfied yet. There's always more work to do. And, they're about to have a police oversight committee. For the first time ever in East Lansing, they have their city council is dominated by people of color. Their city attorney is a black or brown man. Their police chief is a black man. Now, it's not all about color that matters, but representation matters. And that's something that East Lansing has been missing for years. And to finally get that, it's an incredible feeling, because I can go to their police chief, I can go to their city attorney and not explain myself to them what's like to be a black man, because they know what's like to be a black man. So it's just that bridge where we're bridging the community together, and it's going to do a lot of great things for East Lansing.
Yeah, I've been following it. James and Karen have been talking to me a lot about it, and it's impressive what all of you have done. And I think that you never came to me when you and I were talking and said, "Look what I did in East Lansing." You always talk about this team that you surround yourself with, and That's what I do too, man. You got to surround yourself with people. You got to be in a room where you're not the smartest guy, because
Exactly.
then you're in the smartest room.
Exactly. And it's not about me. It's about community. And the more people we have supporting our agenda and what we're trying to accomplish, the better our chances of accomplishing that. So, you know, I love the city of East Lansing. I love the city of Lansing. They both cities got incredible community, and we saw that over the last summer. And I'm excited to continue to work with Karen, Chuck Crispy, uh, George Lahanis, who's their city manager, and I look forward to bring some of those changes here in Lansing and make sure that we're implementing those things as well.
And speaking of Lansing and the work that was done last summer, I got to definitely give a shout out to, I don't know what she was saying about say it again, Farhan, but I think it was about the people of color in the different parts of the system and representing. But Ashaki,
Yeah,
shout out to her. Um, so let's jump into it. You want to be the mayor of Lansing.
I do. I do.
Tell
And,
us about that.
um, I want to start off by saying I'm not a former politician. Uh, I view myself as a public servant, and I'm not the son of a well-known politician. I'm an immigrant, an activist, a Muslim man, a black man, and I'm running because I want to bring structural change to Lansing. I love this city. I care about the city, and it's time that we come together as one city and push what the city needs. And I'm excited to bring new ideas to the city. Um, some people have already called me radical, but I look back and realize that one time abolishing slavery was considered as radical.
Mm-hmm.
Giving blacks the right to vote was once viewed as radical. Giving women the right to vote was once considered as radical. So radical isn't always a bad thing. Some people are afraid of change, and that's okay. We'll educate them. We'll bring them on board, and I'm ready to lead the city. I'm ready to be all about the people. That's what Lansing is. Lansing's all about. Well, Lansing is all about unity, and that's something that we're missing is unity. And there's a lot of division happening in the city, and sadly, we got people who are profiting from that division. Our former president used to benefit from division, but we can't have division in the city, especially if we want to move together and make some of the changes that I want to make.
So, what do you want to talk about? Some of the changes you want to make? I mean,
Yes.
I said this wasn't necessarily a candidate thing, but within the project that you're working on, you see a change that you want to happen, like any other creative innovator or entrepreneur. What is that change you want to see happen?
The first thing I want to see happen is I want to create a dialogue. I want to have honest, transparent dialogue with our citizens, and that's something that we have been missing from the current administration and past administrations. Things are being done behind closed doors, and that doesn't accomplish anything. One of the things that I want to accomplish is public safety. Just today or last night, a 60-year-old died in the city. Every day that someone getting shot, every day that someone dying in the city, and yet we're giving this police department over $50 million. So what are we paying for? That's a question that we need to ask ourselves. What are we paying for? What I do know for a fact is that police do not prevent crimes. Police respond to crimes. What prevents crimes is resources and opportunities, and that's something that we have not seen in this city. And that's one thing that I want to do is defund the Lansing Police Department and put that resource, that money back into the community. I would like to hire more social workers, more therapists, more mental health workers. I want to utilize our community centers and allow coaches and mentors to bring programs, whether it's basketball, football, whatever the case may be. We need to engage our youth. Not only am I from a third world country, but I've also spent a lot of time in low income housing. And what kept me out of trouble, what kept me on the right path was not the Lansing Police Department. It was the community programs that we had You know, I always look forward to teen night, which I would go to Geyer Community Center and I'll play basketball. I always look forward to going to Let's Community Center. You know, I got accepted into the First Step program that's run by the Board of War on Light. So what kept me on the right path are literally community service programs, and that's something that we don't have. That, you know, these politicians have defunded our communities, and then we act surprised when we see violence. One example that I want to give is, you know, when you look at our foreign policy, anytime a president tries to pull our troops from a foreign country, the first thing politicians say is, well, ISIS is going to come back, the Taliban is going to come back, Al Qaeda is going to come back, Al Shabaab is going to come back. Well, let's apply that same logic here. When we defund community programs, what do you think is going to happen to that space that was left by us? Drug dealers come in, criminals come in, and they give our kids, our youth, opportunities that we didn't want to give them. The difference is that the opportunities that they're giving to them is illegal, and it's going to cost them their lives. So it's time that we put our youth first. It's time that we put our community first, and that's one thing that I will do as the next mayor of Lansing.
I love that. I think that we, first of all, what was it? It's called the First Step program with Board of Water and Light, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was that a guy named Dallas? You remember Dallas? I think.
Yeah, Dallas.
Yeah. That program. Why aren't you a line worker, man? Those guys can make like $150 a year.
Yeah, they do make a lot of money, especially if we have any snowstorms. Oh my God.
Yeah. So defund the police, though. I'm not really trying to avoid that or anything. I just want to give a shout out to that program because that's a good skill right there. I loved how. Well, what does defund the police to you mean? Like go to zero budget and no more police?
Defund the police. I think that's a term that got hijacked. You know, a lot of people view when they hear defund the police that they mean we're going to just get rid of police. Like as soon as I get elected, we're just going to abolish police, and that's not true. Defund the police is not punishment. We're not trying to punish our police officers. What we're trying to do is make it easier for them to do their jobs. We want them to go after the bad guys that are really committing crimes in the city. We don't want them to focus on petty crimes and, you know, harassing Black folks. So to me, defunding is not just going to happen in 1 year. It's something that we're going to slowly do. And while we're doing it, we're going to create programs and we're going to make changes. We're not just going to demolish or get rid of the police department in 1 year. That's impossible.
Yeah. And I like what, you know, you're really shifting the focus from not just trying to catch a bad guy after something's happened, but how do you prevent that from happening in the first place? Because a cop can't be everywhere, right? We can't have 52,000 cops and 52,000 citizens or whatever our population is. They can't be everywhere. So if we can do things that prevent those crimes, and I love what you said, create opportunity. And you just gave me an epiphany. The drug dealers create opportunity. The guys flipping guns create opportunity. And if those are the only opportunities you see, then you have to pick an opportunity, right?
Exactly.
So, and that's actually, I mean, it's so, the other thing it kind of ties back to is when you said, you know, that the crime's not going to happen or not happen because there's a law. I mean, people have to do what they need to do. And it's really the values that we're bringing everybody up on that are impactful, right? Whether there's a law or not, I've got to do what I need to do to eat, protect my family, or whatever I've been told I need to do. So, so it won't be day zero or day one, no more police.
No,
that's not what that means.
No. And then one thing, also, we are always reactive to things. We wait for something to happen and then we react rather than being proactive. And that's something that I want to do as mayor, That's something that I want to see us do as a city, is be proactive. And that means, creating community-led violence intervention programs. That's something that can disrupt gun violence. We need to teach our kids how to work together, how to be a team, how to solve their issues without necessarily picking up a gun and killing each other, because that doesn't solve anything. Because now two families are grieving because one of them they lost a child, the other one is going to prison for life. So no one wins, nobody wins. So we need to be proactive rather than reactive, and that's something that I want to do at the police department. We cannot just wait for a black person to get killed in a city in order to make police reform. We need to do these things before it happens so that we can prevent another Anthony Poulon or another George Floyd, and that's something that I'm willing to do, and I will do.
We have a question over to the right. What would be the first thing you do if elected mayor?
The first thing I will do. Is there another comment?
Nope, just that. Oh wait, sorry. Where did it go?
The first thing I would do is I would look at our budget, our city budget, and see where we're spending money, and how it's helping us as a city. I feel like a lot of our budget is going to some things that are not returning any value. For example, the police department. I view the police department as like a stock. When you buy a stock, you're hoping to make benefit. You're hoping to get a return. Now, if that stock is not giving you any return, you're not going to keep buying that same stock. You're either going to sell it or you're going to trade it. Now, that's how we need to view it. Every single service that we offer to our citizens is, are we getting enough return? And if not, then what do we need to do to make any changes? What can we change? And if it's not changeable, can we get rid of it and put something else in that place that's more effective? And so I will look at our police budget. I will hold people accountable in this city. I've heard a lot of things. I've read a lot of things. And, where there's no accountability, there's no progress. Where there's no progress, then there's no trust. So a lot of people are going to trust us once we hold each other accountable. And holding each other accountable does not start when we decide to run for mayor. It's important that these politicians hold each other accountable while they're in office. Because I've heard a lot of chatter. I've heard a lot of people chat about Patricia not being effective, being an ineffective leader. Kathy saying the same thing about Patricia. Patricia saying the same thing about Kathy. And it's like, Kathy has been in office for 16 years. Patricia has been in office for 6 years. So why did it take so long for you guys to criticize each other? Like, why did you guys have to wait for you guys to have competition or face off each other? So it's important that we hold each other accountable. That's something that our constituents expect from us, and I will do that.
Yeah. So, all right, you are an immigrant, a refugee. You are from the Lansing school districts, born and raised, or not born and raised, but brought up through that.
Yeah.
You love Lansing for those reasons, and the welcoming. Was there a warm welcoming from the community?
Oh yeah. We received a lot of love, a lot of support. This community welcomed us with open arms, and I'll never forget that. That's one thing that I will never forget, is the amount of support and love that was shown to my family, and I want to return that love back into the community.
Yeah, and I grew up in poverty in the city, and the mentors, coaches, teachers, my parents' friends, all these people raised me up and got me out of poverty, and I'll always love the city for that as well. So there's that. And then you are an interpreter. You work with the students now. You volunteer at the VOA. You did all of the great work that you did in East Lansing. You're doing good work in Lansing. What's your mission? How would you kind of summarize that?
My mission is to make Lansing better. I want the challenges that I'm facing to not have my kids face. The challenges that I'm facing right now are some challenges that my parents have faced and continue to face. So I want to make Lansing a better place for the next generation. I want to make it better for my future kids. I don't have any kids right now, but when I do have kids or end up having kids, I'm gonna live here in Lansing. So I want to create opportunities for the next generation, for the next youth, and I want to lead by example. That's something that we haven't had that here in a long time.
What do you do every damn day to push that mission forward?
Um, I like to roll up my sleeves and do most of the things myself. I don't. I'm not necessarily a guy who likes to talk. I don't like broken promises. I like to act and engage people and figure out ways that I can push the city so that we can become a better city. So every day, I'm out there meeting people every day. I have people messaging me every single day on Facebook, trying to see where I stand on issues and how I'm going to solve them. So just keep pushing myself, keep educating myself. I view myself as a sponge. I love meeting people and learning new things from them. And I don't know everything that happens in the city. I don't, and it's important for me to listen to everyone and to create and to surround myself with a lot of smart people, people who are smarter than me. And there are a lot of people who are smarter than me. So that's what I do.
Yeah. There's a lot of comments coming in on the right over here, and we're not going to be able to talk about each one of them, and we just can't do that. Do you want to, well, you'll review those later maybe.
Yeah,
Do you want to tell people you'll respond if you wanted? Like, I'll just say, for example, Ashiki is asking this question: what will you do that the other mayoral candidates have not, will not, or cannot do? Is a question to you. Do you want, and there's a lot of them. Do you want to answer that online, or I don't want to do it right now because we got to keep trudging through.
Sure.
But well, I don't want to make a promise that you don't want to keep or can't keep or whatever.
No, I'll definitely respond.
Okay.
One thing that I would do is I would always remain honest and transparent. I will not point fingers. I will not point my finger when something goes wrong. I will take full responsibility, and the same thing applies. I'll hold myself accountable. I will hold people who are serving the city accountable. At the end of the day, we're all public servants. I'm not running for mayor to become rich. I have no interest in becoming rich. My job, my goal, and my dream is to serve people, and that's something that I want to do. I want to put people first. That's why in my campaign, I'm not accepting any big money from the outside. I'm not accepting any money from big donors, lobbyists, lobbying groups. I'm doing grassroots, and I'm putting my own money on the line so that I can make the city better. So I want to put people first, and I will put people first.
All right. I love it. So we daisy chained the shows together. And yesterday on the show, I had Cameron Kennedy, who is basically a software developer. He's really concerned about the talent that we have in the city and getting more talent, but not just bringing people in, but building people up and making our people prosperous. Don't gentrify them and replace them,
Right.
but build up our people. We talked about that a lot yesterday, and I know that is also a value of yours. But he has a question for you that I'm to pass to you.
Right.
What do you think about the beach downtown? Now, I should have prefaced this actually before. Time out for a second. Cameron didn't know who the guest was that I have on, so it's not meant to be a political question. It was just the random question that he came up with. But I like the question. What do you think about the beach downtown?
I don't use that. I've never used that beach, so I don't know anything. Like, I'm sure the community uses it, which is a good thing, but I've never used it. Maybe I should, but that's all.
That's all you have to say about the beach downtown?
I think I think we have other important things that we can focus on in this city. We have crime, high crime. We have bad schools, lack of funding. We have bad infrastructure. We have bad housing here. People are not able to afford housing here, and there's just so many other things that I have on my plate that I want to focus on rather than beach. To be honest.
So the beach is on like page 6 of the stuff you want to deal with right now.
Probably page 60, but yeah.
Um, page 60.
Yeah.
Tomorrow on the show, I have a gentleman and his brother, Clark Anderson. They run a software company called AJ Boggs in the Ide building in East Lansing. What question would you like me to pass on to Clark and his brother?
I want to know what they think. Um, the state of their city. I want to know what they think of East Lansing and how things are, and especially within their police department. If there's anything that needs to be done, what do they think of the reforms that we accomplished thus far, and what more do we need to add? So let's ask some questions about their city and what they think.
All right. I'm going to love asking them that question. And I think they'll have some very insightful answers. But I turned this question on you. And we talked a little bit about East Lansing. We talked a little bit about Lansing. But let's focus on Lansing for a second. What do you think about our police department and some changes that need to be made? And then maybe we'll reference back over to East Lansing too.
I think our police department is not serving us. I do want to say first thing, I'm not anti-police. I come from a third world country, a refugee camp. I understand the importance of security. I understand the importance of the sense of feeling safe. However, we don't feel safe when the Lansing Police Department or officers from the Lansing Police Department come to our communities, and that's because they have been harassing us for a while. I do believe that Chief Green has not done a great job leading this city and leading his police department. For me, leadership starts at the top. We see all these bad cops, and that's because their leaders are not holding them accountable. For example, Derek Chauvin, he had about 17 public complaints filed against him. 16 of those were not sustained. Had just one of them been sustained or had he been held accountable, George Floyd would be alive today. So I want to make sure that there's more accountability here in Lansing, and that starts at the leadership. And I will look at Chief Green's performance. That's something that this mayor does not do, is look at his employees' performances. I'm going to look at Chief Green's performance, and if I don't like how he's leading this city and this police department, if he doesn't have any plans to keep the city safe without asking for more funding, even though he has enough funding, then I'm gonna have to I have no choice but to look for a new police chief.
Okay. And East Lansing, what do you think there? You're
East
not
Lansing.
done, right?
Huh?
You said you weren't done.
Oh yeah, East Lansing. I'm not done with East Lansing. The difference is between East Lansing and Lansing is that the community. I want to see more engagement from the Lansing community. That's something that we have not gotten yet from this community. I would like to see more engagement. I would like to see more involvement. I think the more people you have advocating for something, the better, or the chances are of getting that thing passed. As far as East Lansing goes, like I said, East Lansing is in far better place today than it was last year. They're doing great. They're not perfect, and I'm not looking for perfection or for them to be perfect, but I want them to do things the right way, and that's something that I will keep pushing, whether I'm the Lansing mayor or not, and that's something that they're going to hear from me all the time. I attend their city council meetings. I attend their HRC meetings. I'll be bothering folks, Jerry. I bother folks.
I like it. So what is happiness to you? And are you happy?
To me, happiness is serving others. I love serving others. I love making a difference. I love knowing that I made someone else smile or I made their life better, and that's what makes me happy. I am happy. I'm always happy. My name actually in Arabic it means happy, so that's why I'm always laughing. But yeah, so I'm a very happy person, and not just helping others and seeing others thrive and succeed brings me a lot of happiness and a lot of peace.
Yeah, I like it. But that doesn't mean you're content,
No,
correct?
yeah,
So I like that you don't struggle with that word, that you know exactly what it is and you know exactly if you are or not. What gives you hope?
what gives me hope um, is this community. This community gives me a lot of hope. Seeing people like you, Jerry, you give me hope. You know, being an activist, it's not easy. Uh, you don't always get thanked. You don't always get recognized. You're not doing it for yourself. It's bigger than you. So just seeing other people playing other roles. Not everyone uh, wants to speak in front of a crowd. People are playing uh, smaller roles, and at the end of the day, that's all that counts. Is as long as everybody's doing their part, we're going to see change. And that's what I try to do every day is to just play a small role and just try to make Lansing a better place.
Yeah.
That gives me hope.
So being an activist and being a mayor, do they are there some overlaps there where the skill sets are the same, in at least in your opinion, or are there any conflicts in being an activist and a mayor?
I think there is no conflict. 'Cause at the end of the day, you're advocating and you're working for the people. So I don't see any conflict. I enjoy advocating, fighting for people. I enjoy giving voice to the voiceless. I enjoy defending the defenseless. And that's something that I will do as mayor is put people first. So I don't see any conflict.
Yeah. Do you see? So I got a couple questions that are a little bit out of order, maybe. Uh, you're young, you're black, and you're Muslim. Are those strengths or weaknesses in a political career in America right now? What are your thoughts on that?
Um, I think it's a strength. I don't view it as a weakness. I think it's a strength. I bring a lot of experience to the table that most candidates or other candidates don't have. It takes a lot to leave your country, leave your family, and come here and learn about learn the English language, learn about American culture, and still be able to communicate with them in your second language. The language that I'm speaking right now is my second language. It's not my first language. So I don't view it as a weakness. Lansing is very diverse, and Lansing loves diversity. And I don't think people will hold that against me, being a black man or a Muslim man or being an immigrant. Like I don't think people will hold that against me here in the city. Maybe in other states, but I can't speak for
Yeah,
the whole country. But here in Lansing, I don't think people will hold that against me.
yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm glad that that gets to be our answer.
Yes, sir.
Um, do we forget to talk about anything?
I don't think so.
What about it? What about if someone wants to get involved with what you're doing? How can they get involved? You got a Facebook or a website or something like that?
I do have a website. It's called FarhanForLansing.com. Uh, my name should be on the screen. So yeah, FarhanForLansing.com. I also have a Facebook page, Farhan for Lansing Mayor, and people can reach out to me, and I will respond back to them.
Is it just Farhan for Lansing Mayor?
On
It's your
Facebook.
whole name. It's your whole name, right?
Oh yeah, it's my whole name. Yeah,
Okay. I'm
Farhan
just
Sheikh-Omar
gonna
for Lansing Mayor.
I'm gonna put it out there real quick for everyone. Um, what do you need help with? Anything that the crowd can help with?
What I want to see is I want us to engage the community. I want us to fire up this community. There's a lot of people who hate politics, and they hate politics because they feel defeated. Each time someone shows up to their door and they make so many promises, and then that person is not keeping any of their promises. And so, what we need to do is we need to engage the community. We need to knock on doors. We need to get people fired up and ready to go. I would like this. I just, I just want us to get people registered to vote. That's the most important thing for me. It doesn't matter whether they vote for me or not, but what I want to see is I want to see a high turnout in this election. Um, we don't have a governor's race. We don't have a president's race, a presidential race or gubernatorial race. So it's just mayoral race and city council race. And when that happens, people tend to stay home and they don't come out. And truth is, local elections are far more important than, let's say, a federal election. Because these things, these changes, these decisions that these politicians are making, they affect you immediately, just like that. They affect you. And we need to get people registered to vote. We need to get people ready to go come August 3rd.
Yeah. And I want to reiterate that we definitely need to get more people out voting and using their voice. And that actually reminded me of another subject. Should we talk about COVID for a second and the vaccine? You'll notice I have Moderna as one of my pronouns on the screen.
Mhm.
I got my second shot on Monday, and I believe in the vaccine. I think it's important for all of us, but I can only really speak to my crowd and my community. But the Black and brown community might not trust this. Then people look at Johnson and Johnson and don't trust it even more. What's your thoughts on the vaccine and on COVID in general? And do you have any message about that?
COVID is real. I believe in science. I believe in the scientists. I believe in Dr. Fauci. Um, as far as the Black community goes, it's our job as Black leaders to go back to our communities and educate people about this vaccine and how it can help our community. Um, I plan on taking the vaccine. I think it's a great thing. It's going to help our community. Our state, our numbers are skyrocketing. We have one of the highest COVID-19 cases here in the country. So if we do our part, then our numbers will start to go down. So we need to play our roles. We need to get people educated, especially in the African American community. We need to educate our people about the vaccine, about virus, and how deadly it is, and how it's killing our people at a higher rate than any other race. So education is key, knowledge is key, and it's our job as leaders to go back and lead by example, and that means taking the vaccine ourselves.
Yeah. And I know you're in line and ready now that your numbers come up, right?
Yeah.
So thank you for that. My only message that I can really make to the Black brown community is that we need you all. You're a big part of our community. You're important to me. You're important to the Fledge. And I would really like to see all of us survive through that. And I don't mean to say that any other part of the community isn't important too, but I know that it's hitting the Black and brown community very hard. And I hope that we get out of this together because we need you all.
We need each other.
Yeah. What would you like to take us out with?
What I want to say is I hope and pray that we stick together as a city. We don't let anyone divide us, because at the end of the day, we all love Lansing, and we shouldn't let politics divide us. We saw how nasty things got in the 2020 election, and it literally divided our country. And I don't want that to happen here in Lansing. It's okay for us to agree to disagree, on things, and still be friends and still be neighbors. And we're still looking out for each other. And we're in the middle of a global pandemic, so we really need each other. And love always wins. Love always wins. You cannot beat hate with you cannot defeat hate with hate. You defeat hate with love. You defeat darkness with light. And that's my message to people. That's my message to people here in Lansing, to stay ready to help each other and be there for each other.
Yeah. Thank you so very much for coming on the show. And, you're an impressive person. You're a really impressive person. And I appreciate you very, very much for what you're doing. So please keep up the good fight.
Thank you.
Please keep up the good fight.
I appreciate you, Jerry. You're doing an incredible work. And like I said before, people tend to wait until someone dies to give them credit or to highlight some of their work. So it's important for us as a community. And I think I say it for everyone. Thank you for all the work that you do for our community. And, I look forward to working with you and everyone else.
And our community enabled me, and I'm lucky. I'm very, very lucky, very, very privileged to be able to do what I get to do every day. So, all right, yo. Everyone, every damn day is every damn day at 2 p.m. Thank you, Farhan, for coming on today. And we'll see you all tomorrow with AJ Boggs and Clark and his brother. And we will see you later. Stick with me for a second, Farhan.
Okay.